we don't fail, we don't know what is the feeling and how we need to react. The probability of having mistakes during life are really high. And it's not that everything is, you can control everything. I mean, there can be crises like COVID or financial crisis that can make you fail, even when you're doing everything right. So you need to know how to take those opportunities and make them your own opportunities. So that comes with the failure.
Guys, welcome to Keep On Pushing Stories. This is where we do our deep dive into the real lives of people who have pushed past their challenges and found a way to overcome their circumstances. And today, I'm so excited to welcome my really good friend, Alejandro Martinez, to the show. Alejandro, my friend, welcome to Keep On Pushing Stories.
Thank you, Devon. I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you. We always ask our guests, Alejandro, what it is that they do. So please tell us what it is that you do. How do you serve? How do you bring value to the lives of others?
So I bring data and AI solutions to using a technology-driven approach, or like I always say, bringing it smarter than and the traditional method. I have a company called Propelling Tech. I've been in the business for more than 20 years. And what we're trying is how we modernize the digitalization of companies. So anything related to data, digital transformation, that's where we can help.
Yeah. So if there was a company out there who need that kind of help, how would they find you?
The easy ways is propellingtech.com or with my name, Alejandro Martinez. I don't know, Martinez.com. You can find me. But I think the easiest ways is propellingtech.com.
Propellingtech.com. All right, cool. Thank you for that. So, hey, we come to the most important part of our conversation, my friend, and that is we would love to hear your keep on pushing story. Love to hear of a time that you had to overcome a significant hurdle, step out of your comfort zone, whatever it is to achieve a goal. So please do tell us, share with us your keep on pushing story.
So I got to a point where I always say I like to live on a wave that is always keep on pushing on something. Like that's like having a spear on your back, so that is reminding you need to get out of the status quo. If I go back really to the first thing when I started discovering on keep on and realizing that I was having an issue and I needed to go through that was when I needed to learn English. I was a little bit reluctant on I don't need English, like meaning I speak Spanish and it's enough for me. But I started going to looking for a job and saying, hey, I'm the best student in the university. And they were saying you don't have English or you don't have this or you don't have experience. So my first thing is I decided to move on my own with my own means to live to London. That was kind of resetting your life and starting ground zero, like not having anything, just 20 pounds. And it's like, let's figure out what we do. And it made me discover a whole new life that I'm still living with that. I always say what I learned in that year in 2003, it changed everything, my whole mindset on what a human can achieve. Like, I mean, I learned English in 4 months against all the odds. I started working in the nights in a bar and during the day. I was studying like double shift. Like me, I was studying in the morning and then I was kind of repeating the same thing I was learning in the afternoon in the academy. And everything was related to learning. Like if I was going to a bank to open a bank account, even though they were saying they weren't really opening the bank account, just to have a conversation with someone. So even on those negative experience that you could get, I was looking for the positive. And that really changed everything on how I do things in life. I don't know, even for a background coming from Colombia in all the time of the mafia, I wouldn't really say I overcome a challenge, but in reality, I live there in those moments, and you learn how to do change management. My recent moment of pushing things and getting out of my comfort zone is kind of it remind me a deja vu of this moment that I was describing in 2003. I had it last year when I was in a comfort zone of being the global CEO of the company where I grew up after 15 years, getting to the position that I don't know, maybe everyone was dreaming of, or even myself. I thought I was going to retire in that company and get it. I started getting some signals. I was like, okay, it's the right moment just to jump. Um, my wife, everyone was saying, "Are you doing the numbers?" I was like, "What numbers? Like there are no numbers to do here. Everything is negative." So that's the piece where I always say it's just opening the window, you jump, and you need to figure out on that. Like meaning is kind of like I'm doing the right thing, I'm doing the right thing. But that was a recent moment of going literally out of my comfort zone, and I started challenging absolutely everything, like from what I was eating, how I was engaging with people, what I was looking up on relationships, how I could improve more on, I don't know, sleeping better, dreaming, controlling my dreams, being more performing on the things that I was doing, how I could bring more value. So it really changed my life completely, like my whole lifestyle.
Mhm. So let's go back to the beginning, as it were, in Colombia. So you're doing well. You just describe yourself as the best student. You have all these skills, but there was one skill you didn't have, and that is English. And so although you saw yourself as very qualified, in the marketplace felt that you were lacking. Um, and to your credit, you accepted that eventually. Talk to us about that a little bit, Alejandro. How, the fact that the skills that we're lacking could cause us to miss opportunities. And if we don't change our mindset, we'll continue to miss the opportunities to grow and excel.
And in fact, let me add to that because it was English and it was um, experience of life, let's say. So like, I mean, in a way, without no one saying me, what I was getting is you're like a library rat. Like, I mean, you know everything by theory, but you haven't experienced anything. Not in terms of work experience, but enjoying life. So if I go back to that skill, the first time I went there, and it was with P&G, they had a program. And when I got the rejection, I was like, oh, what happened here? It really later on came in the movie Blackjack, where like the movie where they're counting cards and everything, that it happened the same to the actor when he goes to MIT and he gets rejected. I got the same feeling. Like literally that was my feeling is I have everything perfect. Like literally my grades were, I was thinking grades was the game basically. And
Mhm.
grades are not the game. Um, and it was hard to understand. Like right now, even when I look to them, is grades can be a mean. Like I mean, later on, for example, I use the grades to get money for free. In Spain, for example, if you were getting a perfect grade on a subject, you were getting the credit back. So instead of paying the college, I was getting paid by the college. Um, but grades at the end take you to perfection. Like you learn that everything needs to be perfect, and the real life is not perfect. It's not great. It's no, you cannot really measure something on a number. And in fact, the most important one is you need to fail. Like you need to learn the failure, the feeling of failing and growing into a 20% is still enough to succeed in the market. The second time I went to P&G, they rejected. So they say, okay, you have the experience now. I started working as I was studying, but they were saying you're missing English. So learn English and come back and we will give you a job. And that was kind of okay, I need to learn English because I want to be part of this company. Later on, I put on myself the pressure. I need to learn English in 4 months. I will stay 1 year. So I will kind of start working and I will create a work experience in London. Then I didn't want to go back. Like, I mean, for me, it was kind of the trigger, but I was like, okay, now I don't want to go back and be part of P&G. I want to do something different.
Yeah. So two things. Firstly, let's talk about failure. You brought that up and having the feeling of failure, and you to paraphrase you a little bit, you felt that was important. Talk to us about how important experiencing failure is in terms of us succeeding in life.
I think it's one of the most important skills. And in fact, that's something I try to go back even to my kids on the education systems in general. Because if we don't fail, we don't know what is the feeling and how we need to react. The probability of having mistakes during life are really high. And it's not that everything is, you can control everything. I mean, there can be crises like COVID or financial crisis that can make you fail, even when you're doing everything right. So you need to know how to take those opportunities and make them your own opportunities. So that comes with the failure, with the having the water here, and it goes to a point I need to survive. That's where a lot of ideas start sparking. Um, like when you are used to the perfection, then you think everything needs to go with perfection. Like everything is a grade. Like, hey, I won an A+, but then I have this conversation and I did an A+ presentation. I won the business. No, it doesn't happen like that. It's not just how you perform, is the time, is the energy, is the connection, is the moment you were there, is the need you're covering, how you're covering. So there are things that are not really associated on how perfect you are doing, and that's what failure can teach you. I always say in sports, for example, it's good to win, but it's also good to lose. If you lose everything, then you get used to lose. So then losing another one, it doesn't make any sense. Or it's just another one. But having the feeling of winning and what it feels to get the recognition, but having that feeling also of what means to be on the bottom, like eating the the ground zero the staff is challenging and is teaching you to survive in the real world.
Yeah, so failure is challenging and rewarding, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, you go off to London and you said your eyes were open. You didn't want to go back to Colombia. And I think that's important because to highlight, because we start out with a particular vision and a goal that we want based on where we are on our journey. And if you're able to get yourself in a different environment, you can actually see that the world and the opportunities are so much bigger. Speak to that a little bit more for me.
So for me, it was like, I don't know, being Colombia at the end is, I always say, and I don't know, it might hurt some feelings, but it's like being an affiliate of US at the time when like all the news were US apart from the local news. So for me, the word was US. Going to UK and living there, it was not just, I don't know, I traveled and I went to London. I had some experience living there for some months before, but living there and getting in touch with the cultures and seeing, oh, like what is this country? What is this culture? Getting different tastes of food, it opens the eyes to there are more things in the whole world in terms of how you see something that for you, for example, I don't know, this is an object that I is really valuable for me. For someone else, it might not be valuable. And I always bring this with the thing that, for example, in Western Europe, people pay a lot of money. When you go to Asia, they drop it on the street because it's not valuable for them. So it goes to the holistic view of understanding how people see things. Even if we take the planet, in every country we see the word differently. In Colombia, for example, the word map is showing Colombia being in the center, like literally, hey, we're parallel 0.
Mm-hmm.
And if we go to Europe, Europe is in the center because we have the Greenwich meridian there.
Mm-hmm.
It goes the same. I mean, in Russia is the opposite. It's kind of upside down. So it depends really how you see the word, and it changes on the day to day. So it really opened the eyes to me on being able to talk to many people from different cultures and seeing that what for me was true, it wasn't really a whole truth globally.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I want to be part of a bigger world than just having a local view of what I used to have in Colombia itself.
Yeah. So your journey starts out in Colombia with you wanting to be part of this company. You needed more life experiences. You needed to learn English, and that pushed you out of, your comfort zone, as it were. Um, and then you started to see a little bit more of the world. What else would you say what other lessons did you take away from that experience?
Well, I would say, I mean, to a point, I had my email was always having the 2003 as a waking up call, because it made me, I don't know, discover the word. For example, by this, it created into me a need of traveling. And even till today, I love traveling. I don't know, all the hassle that normally people see on traveling, I don't see it. I just, I don't know, let's go in 1 hour to a city. I will go and grab a plane without having luggage or any plan. I will just go and do it. That's something that gave me that experience of being out of the comfort zone. Um, the other piece that came me was the learning. So I was like, okay, I can learn things in a different way, not just by a book or a library, by connecting with people. So that's the other piece that and even traveling, I mix that together because I like to travel because I learn a lot. Like I recently went to Saudi, and from the business perspective was really nice, but from the learning experience that I got was really enriching. Like meaning being there, understanding how the culture works, how the country is set up. And it's all coming from that year, from that moment where I challenged the comfort zone.
Yeah, so you're saying then that that experience of stepping out of your comfort zone has allowed you to, I guess, approach life and approach the opportunities that come your way in a different way,
Yeah,
in a more
totally.
enriching way. Man, so inspirational for me because I think it's so important that we find a way to get out of our comfort zone, even when things are going well for us. Even if you're, like you said, that you didn't use the word book rat or bookworm, but you're doing well. You're getting great grades and on your path to success. It seems because there was a lack of a particular skill, English in this case, primarily. Um, you either had to stay, you had a choice of staying where you are and be restricted in that way, or step out of your comfort zone, do something completely different, but expand your skill set and your repertoire, and as you say, open your eyes to see the world from a different perspective and be able to approach everything that came your way in a different, more effective, fulfilling way. That, my friend, is the keep on pushing way. Thank you so much for sharing your story, your experiences, your wisdom.
Thank you, Devon. No, it's a pleasure to be here.
Indeed. Guys, if you enjoyed this, if you found it valuable, then please drop us a like, but also don't forget to share it because I think that there's somebody else out there that who could benefit from the wisdom that my friend Alejandro just dropped on us. Until we connect next time, yes, you know what to do. Keep on pushing.